So I think from all lenses, societally, physically, physical health, mental health, media is pushing an agenda for women, a certain body type, a certain image. It's hard to kind of break through it. And so yeah, I definitely I've seen a lot of it. I've been in the field for many years, and it's everywhere.
Understand TikTok. I just feel like everyone on the platform is like 12 years old. I looked it up, the demographic range is 13 to 30. That's pretty young. So if weight loss advice is being shared from kids to kids, that's reckless, in my opinion.
Did you always notice the toxic diet culture on TikTok, or was that something that showed up later?
There's a ton of diet culture on there. I didn't notice it back then because I was so caught up in my own eating disorder, but now I can see a lot of it.
You'd see in the comments sometimes like, oh, I guess I'm not eating now, or I wish I looked like this.
And I saw a lot of extreme calorie counting, extreme calorie deficits, a lot of negative self-image talk on TikTok.
People photoshopping themselves to like unrealistic ideals and stuff like that.
What is your experience with diet culture from a nutritionist standpoint?
From what I understand, it's such a highly competitive thing where, it's people always comparing yourselves to others, and especially when it comes to something like an eating disorder where it's a number and a weight, and it's, you can always get, quote unquote, lower to the point where it's very, very, very unhealthy and dangerous.
I have younger women that I work with. They do DM me a lot on social media, and I can just tell that they're struggling with all of the messaging. There's so much. They'll come to me and just say, I hate my legs, or I hate my arms, and I want to change it. I'm doing cardio every day and nothing's changing. And that to me is the perfect example of how social media is kind of taking us down a path that's not benefiting us as women in society. It's not benefiting our health in the long term, but it is what sells. And that's why young women are left thinking that this is like the only path that they can take to achieve their aesthetic goals, also health goals.
Tell me a little bit about your story with diet culture and eating disorders.
I'm currently 22 years old, and when I was 16, I suffered from anorexia for about 1.5 to 2 years of my life. And that caused a lot of health problems within my body, such as hormone imbalances, vitamin deficiencies. Once I started eating again, I suffered from binge eating disorder just because I hadn't been eating for such a long time that when I did start to eat, I just couldn't stop, basically. And when I started recovery, I went to a nutritionist and got help and kind of learned how to intuitively eat and eat with balance and not set food restrictions on myself or things like that. And now I've been in recovery from both of my eating disorders for about over 3.5 years. So yeah.
So I had an eating disorder. I'm still recovering from it. I'm mostly recovered now. It started when I was like 13. I'd been trying to lose weight since I was 11, and then it finally kind of evolved into an eating disorder when I was 13 or 14. It was just a lot of calorie restricting and stuff like that. Still, it's hard in recovery seeing comments that are full of diet culture still to this day. I mean, they're everywhere, but I'm mostly recovered now.
I was diagnosed with anorexia when I was in grade 9. So I've been in recovery ever since. I'm now in first year university. I'm 18. There's a lot on social media that can be very influential, but it's better now.
Are you familiar with the app TikTok and the ever-increasing toxic diet culture within the app?
I am familiar with sort of the diet culture on TikTok as well. I've seen a lot of videos of just people showing what they eat in a day, or how I got abs in 5 minutes, which is not possible to do in 5 minutes. It's much more of a long-term process and journey.
It's difficult because especially in high school and in middle school, when a lot of those eating disorders really begin, that's when you're at the most impressionable age where you are really comparing yourself to others, and you don't understand that. But I do think that it comes down to the diet culture of the fact that people think that calorie counting is the way to health, and just the culture around food in general. That's something that I actually is something on my channel I talk a lot about, is not counting calories, not exercising to that point of where you're going to harm your body. It's more of a bigger conversation on just how we view food and how we view our wellness goals, period.
What do you think other teens and young adults are feeling as they watch these videos?
I think that they're feeling discouraged, and I feel like they are feeling like they have to meet a certain standard in order to be beautiful. I noticed also like certain audios that are trending on TikTok have a lot of diet culture in them, and there are really, really popular TikTokers using these audios. Like one of them that's trending right now, actually, it's like along the lines of saying, I'm skinny, I'm winning, and all of you are ugly. All the guys on my phone are ugly and fat, so don't call me. And that is trending. Like, it has 369,500 videos to it right now.
I'm worried for young kids, especially, who are just very impressionable. I have 2 younger sisters, and my hope is that it doesn't affect them the way that it affected me with Tumblr and Instagram when I was younger.
And I think that also on TikTok, there's a lot of false reality. There's a lot of filters, angles, perfect lighting, full-on professional makeup done. And so a lot of young people are watching these videos and having this false reality of what normal, everyday life looks like.
Why is it so important for us to spread body positivity and acceptance of like how we look on social media especially? Like, why is it important to you?
Everyone deserves to be happy and healthy. I mean, it's just the natural way that we should be living. You know, we shouldn't be in a state of constant starvation. That's not the way our bodies were designed.
Life is difficult enough on its own, and their confidence in their body and their confidence in themselves should not be one of those obstacles that they have to go through. And
I mean, people of any age, but especially young kids, their brains are still developing. I mean, all of this is being fed into their brains, and it's being ingrained that, you know, you have to be skinny or you have to be an hourglass, and that if you're not that, then every other good quality you have inside, it doesn't matter. And I feel like we need to spread the idea that every single body is beautiful.
If I could do my part and other people could do their part in motivating them to love themselves and love their bodies just the way they are, then I think that like, even if it's such a small like grain of sand in the whole sandbox or whatever, it's still, if I can help one person, then I'm happy to do that. And I think it's so important.
I just want to say that I think it's really important to not look too in depth onto TikTok videos and to take everything with a grain of salt, and to always remember that your worth is so much greater than a number or a size.
It's just so important for female empowerment for women to really take charge of their health, to know how their bodies work, and to feel strong and empowered in them, and not always trying to, you know, be smaller and lose weight and just loving the body you're in.
The most wonderful thing in the whole world is that we're all unique and all of our bodies are different. I mean, it would be so boring if every single person looked the same, and you're made the way you are for a reason, and your advantage being yourself is that no one else can be you. So remember that, and remember that you're beautiful.